questions. But Willis, how's your day going? How's everything been so far?
My day's been great. I've been looking at flight deals. It's kind of how most of my days go, but
Yeah, how are the cicadas with where you are at right now?
where I am, they're not that bad, but we drove
Okay.
toward the coast on Sunday and it was a slaughter. It was horrible. It was the amount of cicadas on the windshield was my wife almost left me, I think.
There you go. All right. I think the question here, though, other than the great scenario that you just described, cicada, would you eat one?
Yes, I would. And I have. And I did in Cambodia, maybe 4 years ago in Cambodia. There was a little street stand in Phnom Penh, and they were frying everything. And like when they're frying everything, you say yes, right? You have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I will say, and I know people, like you're going to lose your entire audience here. They were among the tastier of the creatures because they were juicy and they had more to them. They weren't just, something to get stuck in your teeth. So that's cool. What about you?
There you go. Awesome. I probably would. I'll try everything at least once. Type eater. Let's keep it to food for now. But yeah. I'm not against it for sure. But cool. Thank you everyone for joining us on our weekly Scott Sheep Flights Facebook Live. I'm Julian. As you can tell, this is not Scott. Unfortunately, fortunately, this is not Scott. This is Willis. He's one of our amazing senior flight experts. I mean, he's the emails that you guys get, like a lot of them come from this guy right next to me. Willis, you want to introduce yourself a little?
Yes, that's pretty much who I am. Julian summed it up. No, I've been with Scott for like a little more than 2 years, and this is kind of what I do. I love it. It's the mobile work kind of environment is awesome. I work with Julian every day and the rest of our flight experts. It's really a fun job. It's really fun to find these flights and to see you guys responding to them as we send them out. We're kind of junkies for the feedback. So, we get a deal ready to go. We sent that nice 200s to Europe last week, and seeing people respond to that kind of made our weekends all very happy. So great job, and I'm happy to do it. And I'll do my best to be a mini Scott today. That's kind of my day-to-day objective anyway.
Mini Scott. We are all mini Scotts. But yes, please, drop as many questions in the comments as you want, as you can, whether it be, travel, flight experts. I'm seeing we're getting some great flight expert questions already. So let's hop right into it. So first comment is from Lindsay. Hey guys. Hey Lindsay, how you doing? Second question comes from our good friend Allison. Personal question for Julian. Oh, shout out. Are you still looking for a weekend part-time flight expert? I love this company and I'm very interested. Yes, Allison, we are currently still in the process. We got like 800 applications in like 3 days. So to say that it's taking a little time to go through them is probably an understatement, but we are working through them and we're trying to reach out to everyone and go through that process as quickly as possible. So yes, that is still happening and we are still looking through and going through that process. Two questions I see about Scott that honestly, Willis, I don't know the answer to. Dina asked, did Scott make it to Spain? And I think someone else, Katie also asks, is Scott in Spain? From our knowledge, we believe he is. But Willis, have you heard anything different?
I have not heard different, but he did tell me the day before he left, he said, we're going to fly there. We're not sure if we'll be allowed in. If we're not allowed in, this is our first flight in a long time without their child. We're going to hop on a plane to the first place that's open. So he's somewhere. He's not here. Out of office says Spain. But he's Scott, and my assumption is that he showed up at the Spanish border in Madrid, and he showed up at the airport, and he said, I'm Scott from Scott's Cheap Flights in Spain. They rolled out the red carpet. I'm just assuming that's what happened. Video footage should come, I'm sure.
There you go. I have nothing to say against that. I think that is completely true. Jay says, hi from Iceland, cheap fare from NYC. That's amazing. I'm very jealous, but that sounds amazing. All right, I guess our first travel question, sort of. KK asks, what is one secret as a flight expert that you can share with us? Willis, hit us with something that you got.
Man, there's so much, but I think the biggest thing is flexibility. Like if you leave your options open, if you are open-minded to new experiences, to driving a couple hours to a different airport, if you kind of leave all of your previous assumptions at home, you can come up with some great fares, go on some great trips. Like I was not planning on going to Japan next year. My wife and I were planning to go on safari, but hey, 202 to Japan from DC didn't drop in my inbox. I sent it to my own inbox. But then, we're going to Japan next year. Like that's happening. Yeah. Safari's on hold. We'll go on safari another time. So, and the same thing like with where you fly from, right? I live in the DC area. We've got 2 big airports here. It's easy to assume like all the best deals will be from there, but it's not always true. If I drive 2 hours up the road to Harrisburg, sometimes I can get a better deal. It just depends. It's got to be open and be willing to kind of finagle your itinerary to get the best deal.
Yeah. Has there been anything that has surprised you or shocked you, other than obviously being flexible, from before you worked at Scott's to now that you've been here for over 2 years?
Yeah, a few things. One thing that I didn't realize was just how petty airlines are. I love it. I absolutely love it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And whether it's humans or algorithms, I don't care. It's fun. So a great example is that, like yesterday, for example, United put a whole bunch of Delta's hubs on sale to Costa Rica for $309, $316. Really great fares from like Seattle, places like that don't often get that deal. And today we can already see it. Delta is starting to test the waters with United's hubs. The deals aren't quite as good. We're not sure if they're going to pass muster, but Delta just couldn't hold back. They said, we've got to get them back. We got to hit United back. And I just love that. And, we always kind of thought that these sales were random, but they're not. Like we can kind of anticipate these things happening when they come up. And I think it's really fun.
Yeah, no, I think I talked about it last week or the week before with Scott too, is like pricing wars or just, airfare wars where they, you put a deal for 300, so I'm going to put a deal for 280. Like you're right. It's super petty and I love it. I mean, it's definitely one of the things that I find very funny and is just super exciting.
And that's how we got those 202 to Japan. It was American Airlines thought they were being sneaky. They were going $80 under every United fare, and it just went and went and went until somebody cracked. It was like a game of chicken. It was fun.
Yeah, I was hoping that they'd maybe hit with the 100. One can dream. One can dream. Brooklyn Joe says no Costco today. I love it. I don't know if I love that though, because again, we've talked about this many times. Being in Costco is also amazing. So, but no, we're glad we have your non-Costco attention today. I like that. Jay says Peru was amazing. 70,000 miles for Delta One from Atlanta. Wow. That's awesome. I'm just loving. We're getting a lot more feedback instead of questions this week, and I think that's amazing. I think people just, Willis, you're a happy guy. People just want to share in that happiness.
And because Scott's not here, you gonna ask me? Come on.
No, we're all Scott. That's what it comes down to. Allison says I flew Avelo Airlines over Memorial Day weekend. Oh, awesome! Burbank to Santa Rosa. It was a great experience for a budget airline, but I recommend paying a little extra for the aisle seat if you are above average size. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's. I know there's a couple of these kind of new budget airlines popping up, so it's really cool seeing people actually take them and see what their experiences are while on them. Willis, have you heard anything or any feedback from these new airlines?
So Daniel, one of our other flight experts, flew Avelo and approved. When we find these new budget airlines coming up, and we want to make sure they match our standards, right? Like we don't send fares on certain budget airlines like Spirit and Frontier because the product is a little shabby. So we've been asking folks for feedback. So Allison, thanks so much for writing in, because if these fares continue to be so great and they're flying to kind of fun routes that are a little rarer, let's go for it. Avelo's got $10 each way for a checked bag. That's way cheaper than your major carriers here in the U.S. On the East Coast, we've got Breeze, another new carrier that's by one of the founders of JetBlue, I think, opened it up. And they're flying some fun, quirky routes. They have some great routes down to Charleston, to New Orleans, to Tampa. Really fun kind of southeastern destinations. Again, with cheap check bags, like we're hoping these airlines will, be real competition like JetBlue ended up being. JetBlue was a budget airline and now kind of is in the big leagues. We're hoping these other airlines will do the same thing and keep these routes cheap. We like cheap.
I know. Yeah, that's something Scott always says too, where, you may not fly Spirit, you may not fly Frontier or Ryanair if you're in Europe, but you need to be appreciative of what they do. for the industry, for the prices. And I think that's very accurate, where even if it's something that you may not fly yourself, understanding, how that impacts other prices, how the legacy carriers view the different prices. That's a very good point there. So this next comment just speaks for itself. I don't have much to add there. Enrique goes, my God, that's a model. Nothing to add there.
Julian, you are a handsome guy, man.
All right, there you go. Obviously. Okay, two questions. I'm going to combine them. Katie asks, any updates on the UK? And Bobby asks, will Portugal open up to U.S. travelers? So UK and Portugal. Hit me with what you got, Willis.
So there are discussions right now. The UK has not announced a definitive opening timeline, but there have been a lot of news articles recently about how the EU, the UK, the US, Canada, a whole bunch of other countries are discussing how to open up in a safe, responsible way. Right. I think everyone's speculation right now is that by the end of the summer, we should see most countries in Europe, so this kind of covers Portugal as well, kind of finalize whatever they're doing to let folks in. The biggest thing right now seems to be figuring out a great way to track inoculation status or vaccination status. So whether someone's already gotten COVID or they're vaccinated. Right now it's kind of on a country-by-country basis, but I know the EU is working on a digital health pass that hopefully will make this a little bit easier and a little more streamlined. And I'm sure that once that happens, the UK will be in on the deal, although they're no longer part of the EU. So right now it's all tentative. We're sending summer deals to Portugal, to the UK, but we're making sure folks know, hey, be aware of airlines change policies, change fees, so if things don't open up as quickly as we're hoping, if things lag in one country or another, you'll still be covered. But yeah, our best bet right now is by the end of the summer we should be in pretty good shape on both of those.
Yeah, there you go. I'd have to agree too with everything that we're seeing with the talks that are going on right now. I would also, I'm not a betting man, but I would put some money down on that. So, Mario asks, hey guys, so I purchased tickets to Japan last year, and since COVID, now I just have open tickets waiting to reschedule my vacation. Would you reschedule now for December or wait till there's more news on Japan opening up? Great question. Willis, what do you got?
So Mario, it depends on how risk averse you are, right? And also what your new ticket conditions are. If you really are chomping at the bit and want to go, there's some chance that Japan will open up by the end of the year. I think most of us who are doing this work day in and day out and watching these things feel better about 2022. It feels as though most of East Asia overall will start to kind of move in that direction by early 2022. That said, if your airline is offering free changes still, and you want to book yourself, rebook yourself again for December, and you have the flexibility, check those terms and conditions, and you want to take a chance on it, hey, free changes are free changes. Japan fares have been staying pretty low, not ridiculously low, so you might not be on the hook for a big fare difference if you do have to change it down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that covers it. I thought I had something there, but I do not. Cool. Moving on. I got a little distracted from Linda's comment right here. And Linda goes, Scott, better not be in Valencia without contacting me. We'll just, I've got Scott's back. He's I don't know. He's in Spain. He's just not in Valencia right now. Let's go with that. let's. I think that's what we'll go with right now. But actually, yeah, I don't know if he's in Valencia or not. If he is and he did not contact you, I'm more than happy to call him out for it. So Linda, I've got your back too. Danger says, I read Scott's book on the beach in St. Lucia last week. That's amazing. Danger, I think I remember you asking about St. Lucia a while ago, or maybe you were asking about a different destination, but I love that. I love, jealous of the beach and love that you're reading Scott's book. I'm only on chapter 5. I should probably get on that.
The man works too much. Julian's just always working. No
time I'm not on the beach in St. Lucia. I think that's my problem.
Just hang out like on your fire escape from your apartment, Julian, and read the book.
Yeah. There you go. Cindy Bo asks or says, I tried to fill out my travel info for staying in Ireland. They only allowed one address. We are planning to arrive in Ireland August 20th. Do you think we'll be able to visit/stay in multiple cities?
That's hard to speculate on, but in general, with other countries that have pre-arrival forms where you have to put an address, your best bet is to put the first place you're going to stay. People are not going to be going door to door. I don't expect in Ireland. It's not kind of how they operate, going door to door asking for you. They want to know that you have a place to stay, and that if you need to quarantine because something happens, you get sick, you are in a permanent place. I wouldn't worry about it overall. Countries like Mexico ask you where you're going, and let's go down to Mexico and bounce around. It's no big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really heard anything beyond that. It's mainly, one, coronavirus, so just a place to stay. And then also, you have a destination that you're going to. And then, of course, after that, if you're moving on to different cities, different countries, like that's, I haven't heard anything beyond that. Mark says, hello from Iowa. I've successfully booked 5 trips thanks to you. That's amazing. I don't think I'm at 5 yet. No, I think that's a lie. I think that's a complete lie. Yeah. But no, that's still amazing. Willis, what would you say you're at for SEF deals?
It's hard because sometimes I book a trip and then I send it afterwards. So like, I probably
right.
So I probably booked 4 or 5 total. The problem is I've canceled and moved them because of COVID. So
true.
But like the most recent one I booked was the 194 nonstop from Dulles down to Cancun. My first trip post-vaccination recently. But that was one that I found myself on the weekend, and then I pinged Daniel and he sent it out as I was booking my own ticket. So
that counts, yeah.
It counts, right? I didn't click the email, but it counts.
Right. Again, I mean, this is for those who are just joining us. This is Willis. He is one of our senior flight experts. Like, he's one of the main people sending out these deals. So if you have any questions on how deals are created, how it's done, what it's like to be a flight expert, literally that is his job title is a flight expert. So hit him with as many questions as you have for that. Allison says, I have a friend who lives in Portland, Maine and needs a warm getaway for winter. Any suggestions?
Keep my eye open because deals from Portland, Maine themselves. I think in the past folks would have thought they had to drive down to Boston to get a good deal somewhere. We've seen some really good deals connecting through New York or connecting through DC down to the Caribbean. I'd keep my eye open because prices have been quite good. We've seen stuff in the 200s down to Puerto Rico, down to the Virgin Islands, maybe 300s down to Costa Rica, and they're coming about relatively frequently. So make sure your friend signs up, gets on our premium list and keeps their eyes open because it's not unheard of, and they can fly out of that small airport and not deal with big city traffic. That's a good deal.
Yeah. I don't know why my mind just went domestic. I guess that's just where my brain goes now. I don't know what's happening, but I mean, Florida. I'm always a fan of the Gulf side of Florida, so that's actually where I'll be in about a month. So excited about that. And then my newfound love for San Diego. You just can't go wrong. I mean, you have the beach, you have the views, you have the weather, and you have the food. I mean, it's hard to beat that. But yeah, I would say, Willis gave a little more detail in his suggestions, so he can't go wrong.
Julian loves the domestic travel. Also, they can come down here to DC for a medium warm. There's been really cheap flights between Maine and DC, $97.
That's true.
Between Maine and DC. So, I mean, it's not that warm, but like we'll keep you company with our warm personalities.
Boom. That's the answer right there, official answer. Mark has a great question. Can you explain open-jaw and open-ended flights and how to benefit from them? That's great.
Yeah, this is one of my absolute favorite ways to travel. I think that if you are someone who likes to explore or if you like to do slow travel and kind of go somewhere for a long period of time, an open-jaw trip is the best that you can book. So what that is basically is that you fly into one city, right? You do whatever you're going to do on the ground. And then when you fly home, you're flying home from a different airport. So a great example I did a few years ago, I flew into Madrid in Spain, and a couple months later, because I stayed for a while, because I'm lucky I work from home, I flew home from Rome, right? So it was into Madrid, home from Rome, or maybe from Zurich, it doesn't matter. I flew home from somewhere else that was not Madrid. You have to get yourself from point A to point Z, I guess, on the ground, but that's an opportunity to have fun. It's a great way to do road trips. We actually sent a really fun road trip deal to a bunch of members on Monday. For example, where we said, hey, you want to go see Spain's wine country up in the La Rioja region? Great. You can fly into Madrid, but instead of having to kind of circle back after you've gone up there, you can continue and go up to Basque country, go to Bilbao, have some pinchos, have a great job, and not have to spend an extra day in travel going back to where you started. It's a great way to book things. And very often, if we send you a deal and it's got multiple destinations on it, it will be bookable open jaw. We may not package it that way, but you'll look and you say, hey, look, this deals to Paris and Nice. Check it out. Go into Google Flights, select multi-city search, and try to mess around with your origin or destination, and you might find that it works for a very similar price. Yeah, no,
that's actually a great tip and a good answer to the previous question from KK of like what's a secret from Flight Expert. Yeah, even if we don't market it as open jaw, there are a lot of deals that we've sent where you can make it an open jaw by itself. So
I would say for us, like with the Flight Experts, we rarely, especially somewhere like Europe where destinations are pretty close together, we rarely will book into and out of the same place unless it's a really short trip.
Yeah. I agree. Wow. Yeah. It's a great answer. You're making me think about a lot of these things too.
Scott's been hammering me, man. He said, you're going to fill in, you better fill in.
I love that. Don asks, how do I get alerts for great fares? And I love that our members or our audience have already helped her with an answer. Subscribe to SEF. Yeah, we do have a limited tier. So if you wanted to check that out. We also do have a premium tier where you get all of the deals that we send. But yeah, we do have separate tiers to see whichever one fits best for you. But yeah, I would say that's the way that I would go. Kurt asks, when do you think the US will stop requiring COVID-19 negative tests to get back into the country?
I would assume this will be relatively soon. I've kind of put it similar to the Europe timeline. I think once maybe a digital health pass or something else like that is implemented, it'll be easier for them to say, hey, we know you're vaccinated, we know you're inoculated, you're fine to come home. With our vaccination rate getting so high, I would expect this, by the end of the summer to not have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. And following up, a similar question, Katie asked, do you think that people will be asked for a vaccine card to fly all over the world eventually? I feel like I've memorized Scott's vaccine card answer, but Willis, let's see where you're at with this.
See, you said I was doing well, and then you did that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, a vaccine card or some sort of digital health pass is likely to be something that a lot of countries are requiring in the future. Right now, a lot of countries are requiring it, but it's not only that, right? So some countries will require a proof of vaccine or a negative test or proof of inoculation through already getting COVID. So it's not as though if you don't get the shot, you're doomed, right? If you've already gotten COVID and you can prove inoculation through some sort of medical record, most countries are going to accept that down the road. And then, yeah, there's still plenty of countries out there that just only want you to test it. They don't really care about your vaccine status. So it really varies on a case-by-case basis. I think we will see, though, kind of things standardized with the US, with the EU, with some of these other kind of highly developed countries, some sort of standardized proof of your health, but it won't just be the vaccine.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was great. It's like Scott was never gone. It's like he's not in Spain or not in Valencia. No, yeah, that's pretty much it. As Scott likes to say, he sees it more as an easy pass or that fast pass card where it's not you can still get through the toll without an easy pass, but with that easy pass, it definitely makes life a lot easier, makes it a lot faster, a lot more efficient. So yeah, that's probably, that's how we're seeing it now, and that's probably what it's going to look like going forward as well. Alyssa asks, advice on when would be the best time to book a flight to Greece/Croatia or Iceland, and which airlines?
So now is a pretty good time to book a flight to those places. Demand is up high, and something really cool that's kind of been happening, kind of counterintuitive that's been happening as countries have started to open up, right? Usually you'd say, Greece announced that they're open. Iceland announced that they're open. Croatia announced that they're open. Demand is high. Prices should go up. But the airlines are staying like 2 or 3 steps ahead of us, and they're adding more flights to these places, which is actually keeping flight prices pretty depressed. We've seen, flights to the Greek islands themselves, not just to Athens, in the 500s round trip from all over the country, which is you never saw that before ever. You had to, figure out something else to get there. We even have, the Greek islands trick is one of our flight hacks that we talk about all the time at SCF because it's so hard to get there for cheap. So now is a great time to book. I would say, kind of traveling in shoulder season, September, October, November, when it's not quite as crowded, might be a really nice time to do it as well. Although crowds should still be thinner than they were pre-pandemic, of course, which is great. Which airlines? It really just depends on what's going on sale. right? So for Iceland, Iceland Air runs a bunch of routes nonstop all over the country, but Delta's added a bunch of them as well. So you'll probably be on either one of those two if you're flying up to Iceland. That's pretty easy. For Greece, Croatia, we're seeing a lot of stuff on Star Alliance recently, but like we said before, airlines are petty. So if United and their partners put it on sale, you can bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow Delta and their friends will put it on sale. And Americans not far behind.
Yeah. Jason asks, any word on international deals for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we got plenty. they're coming.
Right.
We're in what Scott likes to call the Goldilocks window for booking international flights. That's kind of like between 2 and 8 months before you want to travel internationally, start looking to get those best deals. A lot of what we're seeing right now that we're sending out does have Thanksgiving availability. Some of the shorter range stuff and the Caribbean stuff, more likely to be blacked out. But a lot of the stuff to Europe is wide open over Thanksgiving. So I'd keep an eye on it, even if we don't necessarily call it out as much as how you might have thought in the deal. Take a look, check those dates. We've also noticed with COVID that there's these kind of peak season stuff, Christmas, Thanksgiving, peak summer. The prices have not been quite as high as they were in the past. This is kind of an opportunity to fly over those vacations that you didn't always have in the past. So keep your eyes open now.
Yeah. And then just to another question from Caprice for a late September flight, when might deals show up? That what Willis said perfectly answers your question as well, of that Goldilocks window and when to keep your eye on, especially international deals. Yeah, definitely. If there's a good flight, a good deal now's the time to look for it. Domestic, you can kind of see that 1 to 3 month deal, but it all comes down to if there's a good deal, just might as well go for it. So, but yeah, that's a really good question.
Julian's got like the New York City stereotype going.
Background, I know. Yeah,
so good.
I guess they call out here. I saw a comment from our very own Daniel that I wanted to call out, but I'm struggling to find it right now. Oh, yeah, Daniel, our another amazing senior flight expert on our team, says Breeze is lovely, had a great flight on their inaugural to Charleston. So nice. That's super good to know. Katie, a comment from Katie says, I flew Spirit once, never again. The seats don't recline. They have cheap flights, but they charge for everything else. I have a few comments here. One is that's they have that sticker price, right? That sticker wow price where, oh my goodness, like fares are $20, $30. But then suddenly with the fees and the add-on, the flights become a lot more expensive and almost comparable to legacy carriers that we send. So that's one of the reasons why we don't send budget airlines for any of the deals that we send. On the other hand, like I've said before, we do appreciate what Spirit is doing for our flight prices, and I do think it. A lot of what travel comes down to is what your personal comfort, your flexibility. Yes, I would say that generally, like Frontier and Spirit, while I'm not against it in any sense of the word, if I'm able to hop on another flight for a comparable price, I'll probably pick that. But if there's like a $15-$20 ticket from New York to LA or something, yeah, I'll do it. So it does come down to what you're comfortable with, and a lot of people have very different standards on that. But yes, I will say there's a reason or two why we don't currently send budget airlines. Any thoughts to add there, Willis?
No, I mean that's why we love people's feedback, Daniel's feedback on Breeze, and then the feedback before on Avelo, because we can't go on every flight ourselves, but we want to get a good feel for what the product is and find out whether or not it's up to our standards. If we say, hey, we're going to send this to our members, and we know they're going to take this flight, and they're not going to feel like they're being nickel and dimed all over the place. So it's great to have your feedback. We love more feedback on these airlines because our bestie test is always evolving, and also these things change. They change over time. Like certain airlines across the Atlantic, like Iceland Air, used to be considered kind of a bottom of the barrel airlines across the Atlantic, but now their fees are pretty similar, actually a little lower than legacy carriers. So these things change over time, so we want to keep up with it. If Spirit all of a sudden gets way better, let us know. Because
yeah, we're always looking for quality deals, and if an airline or a deal goes into that quality tier, of course we'll send it. But yes, that is a very good point. The feedback that we get from everyone is super, super helpful. Final question here, Willis. Let's start to our friend Enrique. He says, "Hey team, thank you for the video. Question: I've seen articles about some European countries starting an e-vaccine passport situation. I'm all for it, but would that impact fares or no?" Willis, what do you think?
Well, I don't think it would impact fares directly. I think it would mean that more countries opened up more quickly. So you may see some of these crazy deals like we were just talking about to the Greek islands and et cetera kind of start to dissipate a little bit as airlines kind of spread their capacity out among the continent. Right now, they've really, really upped capacity to Croatia, to Greece, to places that are open. Something like that would mean way more countries are open a lot sooner. And you might kind of get back to the prices being what they were pre-pandemic. But guess what? Those prices were great. The prices pre-pandemic were awesome. So nothing really to worry about. We'll still see plenty of great deals all over the continent.
Yeah, that was my thinking too, where I think a lot of people may think, oh, like, our fares going to go up. We get that question all the time. And what Scott loves to say, the average of the deals don't really matter. It's what are the deals and when the deals actually come here. And you're right. I think with more countries opening up, with more routes, that creates more competition. And as Scott Sheep Flights and consumers, we love competition because competition usually is good for us. So you're right. I don't think the actual vaccine, e-vaccine passport will directly impact fares, like you said, Willis, but what that would possibly allow down the line, more routes, that should hopefully impact fares in a good way for us. So super excited about that. But thank you everyone for dropping your questions. Thank you for participating and just coming here and listening to us talk for 30 minutes. Super appreciate all of you. Appreciate you, Willis, for hopping on, spreading all of your knowledge and wisdom.
This is what he says to me at the close of every workday. Julian, I get a direct message every
There you go.
The
secrets come out now. But yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you, Willis, and we will be back next week, and I'll talk to you all later. All right.